Hello, everyone, and welcome to College Football Chronicles, where I am reviewing the best coach for every single FBS team in the nation, including the two teams moving up for the 2025 season. I decided to do this in alphabetical order instead of by conference due to the constant changes, or by region due to it being so uneven. Now, here are the guidelines I will be using for this list. Most schools should be pretty clear and based on numbers and facts. Some will need other deciding tiebreakers, so to be clear, this will be the best coach in school history for the program itself and limited only to that program, not the best coach to ever run through there. For example, Nick Saban will not be the choice for the Toledo Rockets, despite his one solid 9-2 season at the helm. This list is also not limited to the FBS time period itself, and schools can and will have coaches who coached before the team was in the FBS or before college and university divisions were even a thing. The decision factor takes into account overall record, winning percentage, coaching awards, and championships. If there's still some debate after those things are accounted for, we will look at the ones that was most impactful or most cherished by the school and its fans. How many pro players did they develop? Are there streets and buildings named after him? Is there a statue of him? If somehow we still don't have a clear-cut name after all of that, I will just have to make a final decision based on my own opinion, which I hate to do, but if it comes to that point, I will make the fairest call I think I can, or at least explain myself and my choice. If at any point you feel I got it wrong, or missed something glaringly obvious, feel free to absolutely destroy me in the comments, and I will try to be better next time, because all I really want in life is to be a better person to my YouTube audience. With all that said, let's get into this one. The Auburn Tigers. This one was a bit tough, but I think I picked the right one. While Gene Chizik won the BCS National Championship in 2010, he was only 38-19 overall and was fired after falling from grace all the way down to 3-9 by 2012. While many would also think of Pat Dye, who is an Auburn legend and has his teams in national contention 4 times with 4 SEC championships as well, he was actually only at Auburn for 12 years and never won at all despite coming very close in 1983. When all was said and done, I had to give the slight edge to Ralph Shug Jordan. Despite his lack of conference titles, he is the all-time wins leader and got the school its first national championship. Jordan was a 3-sport athlete at Auburn from 1928 to 1932, playing the sports holy trinity of football as a center, basketball as a guard, and baseball as a pitcher. As an athlete, he was awarded the 1932 Porter Loving Cup, which was a trophy awarded annually from 1918 to 1932 to the best all-around athlete from a major Southern university. After graduation, he became the head basketball coach and an assistant football coach at Auburn for the next 10 years. After this stint, he went off to fight in World War II, where he was actually wounded in the invasion of Normandy. In 1946, he headed to Georgia, where he was again the head coach of the basketball team and a football assistant until 1951, when he was named the head football coach at Auburn. Things got off to a relatively slow start, which was to be expected as the Tigers were coming off an 0-10 1950 season. By 1953, Jordan had his boys winning, going 7-3-1, and wouldn't have a losing season for the next 13 seasons. The highlight of his career came in 1957. The Tigers opened the season with a 7-0 win on the road against number 8 Tennessee. They would then go on to beat the likes of number 19 Florida, number 17 Mississippi State, and closed out the season with a 40-0 win over Alabama to finish undefeated at 10-0. They were voted the AP Poll National Champion and also won the SEC, of course. Side note, on this team was a star halfback by the name of Bobby Hoppe, who actually shot and killed someone that same year in his hometown of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and kept the secret and got away with it for over 30 years. There is a whole SEC storied episode about it on ESPN called The Trials of Bobby Hoppe. I recommend checking that out, it is a great watch. Anyways, back to it. Auburn would go undefeated again in 1958 at 9-0-1, but a 7-7 tie at Georgia Tech kept them from winning the SEC and national title. From there, the Tigers came as close as 5th in the AP polls in 1963 and 1972. When Jordan retired after the 1975 season, he had compiled a 176, 83-7 record. He was named the SEC Coach of the Year in 1953, 1957, 1963, and 1972. In 1973, his name was added to Auburn's Cliff Hare Stadium and was renamed Jordan Hare as it's known today. In 1982, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. In 2021, a statue of Jordan was unveiled outside the stadium. Coach Jordan died in 1980 at the age of 69 in Auburn. Ball State. I'm sorry you have to follow the Auburn entry here, Cardinals fans, but that's just how it goes. While John Magnabacco has the all-time wins with 68, He coached 6 losing seasons and had a winning percentage of just over 58%, which includes a 0-6-1 season in 1951 and only won 1 conference championship. Paul Schudel was also considered with 60 wins and 2 conference titles, but my choice here is Ray Luther. While only going 37-13, he won 4 straight conference titles from 1964 to 1967 and even went undefeated once. Ray Luther played football and baseball at Western Michigan in 1944 before transferring to Michigan in 1944 to focus on baseball only. After college, he played minor league baseball around the country until 1949. He then began coaching high school baseball and football in Michigan until he was hired as a football and baseball assistant at Ball State in 1958. By 1959, he had become the head baseball coach for the Cardinals, and in 1962, he did the same for football. In his 6 seasons, he had a winning record the entire time. Starting in 1964, he won 4 straight Indiana Collegiate Conference championships. Now, I grant you, that is a pretty irrelevant conference, but they did still win, and Coach Luthen led them to 100% of their conference championships within that conference, and 4 out of the 11 conference championships in school history overall. The highlight of that run came in 1965 when he led the team to a 9-0 regular season record before tying Tennessee A&I in the Grantland Rice Bowl. After the 1967 season, he resigned as football coach but stayed on as baseball coach until 1970. In 1970, he became the Ball State athletic director as well and held that job until 1981. Coach Luthen passed away in 2004 at the age of 79. I could definitely see an argument for a different pick here, such as Paul Schudel, due to his era being more notable. Let me know down in the comments if I should have gone that direction, because in retrospect, I could certainly see why that would be a good argument. Baylor. This came down to 2 guys, and even as I went to check my research and write this out, I had not come to a 100% decision. But here we are, and it's time to make a tough call. Art Briles is certainly deserving in this spot with 2 conference championships, 2 11-win seasons, and a Heisman Trophy winner. However, a sexual assault scandal in 2016 led to his dismissal, though he seemingly won a wrongful termination lawsuit later. It's all a bit messy. And he probably still would have been my pick had he stayed a little bit longer and racked up more than his 65 wins. All that said, for the Bears, I went with Grant Teef. Grant Teef played linebacker for San Angelo, which is now Angelo State, and McMurray from 1953 to 1955. After his playing career, he became an assistant coach at Lubbock High School in Texas in 1956. From there, he went to his alma mater McMurray as an assistant from 1957, and then became their head coach from 1960 to 1965. In 1966, he became an assistant at Texas Tech before returning to the head coaching ranks at Angelo State in 1969. In 1972, Teef would take the job at Baylor and remain there for 21 seasons to close out his career. Things got rolling for the Bears in 1974 when the team went 8-4, winning the prestigious Southwest Conference Championship with wins over teams such as number 12 Oklahoma State, number 14 Arkansas, number 12 Texas, and number 20 Texas Tech. That team did, however, fall 41-20 to Penn State in the Cotton Bowl. After a few years of mediocrity, the Bears put together their best season under Teef. In 1980, Baylor started the season 7-0 and climbed to a number 10 ranking. Unexplainably, they dropped a game to unranked San Jose State 30-22 at home, but rebounded, winning the final 3 games of the regular season against Arkansas, Rice, and number 20 Texas to capture another Southwest Conference title. The winning would come to a screeching halt in the bowl game, though, as number 6 Baylor lost 30-2 in the Cotton Bowl against number 9 Alabama. Coach Teef would have a few more good years, winning 9 games in 1985 and 1986, but could not capture any more titles. He would step down after the 1992 season with a record of 128, 105, and 6. This is first in school history for wins and 7th in win percentage among those who coached more than one season. He also went 10-11 against Texas, which may not sound that great, but Baylor's record in the 15 years before his tenure and the 15 years following his retirement was 1-29 against the Longhorns. While he doesn't have a ton of coaching awards, he has more than I care to list out verbally, and more than you'd probably want to hear me list out verbally, so I'll go ahead and put those on the screen now. After retiring, he became the executive director for the American Football Coaches Association. Coach Teef was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2001, and you can find a statue of him at McMurray.
McMurray!
Wayne,
Let's just slow this down, okay? I'm gonna start.
And won't say nothing?
McMurray.
Present.
Well, there he is.
Here I am.
How are you now?
I'll find any better Wayne to take me off old hill.
Well, that's a good way to be.
Good being's way.
Yeah? See, I knew you had it in you.
And I knew that you were. now.
As of this writing in June of 2025, he is amazingly still living at 91 years old. Boise State. There have actually been a lot of successful coaches for the Broncos over their history. This is really not a surprise since they have an all-time winning percentage of 72.7%, a junior college national title, and an FCS national title to go along with 22 total conference championships. Since 1968, Boise has had 7 coaches that won 70% or more of their games. All that said, none have been better than Chris Petersen. Petersen was a quarterback for Sacramento City Community College and then for UC Davis from 1983 to 1986. After graduation, he would stick around UC Davis as the freshman coach for 2 seasons and as the wide receiver coach for another 3. He then spent 1 season at Pitt coaching quarterbacks, 2 seasons at Portland State also coaching quarterbacks, and 6 years at Oregon coaching the wide receivers. He finally arrived in Boise in 2001 as the offensive coordinator. He would assume the head coaching job in 2006, and man, did he go off. In his very first season, Petersen led the Broncos to a perfect regular season at 12-0. Boise State entered the Fiesta Bowl ranked only number 9 as they had not played a single ranked team all season, where they finally matched up with number 7 Oklahoma. Most of us over the age of 30 were around to see the iconic game and were left in disbelief at what played out. Down by 7 with 18 seconds remaining, the Broncos faced a 4th and 18. Boise hit the hook and lateral to convert for a 35-yard touchdown. In overtime, the Broncos again faced a 4th down, trailing by 7, and again scored on a short throw. Petersen then decided to go for 2 and the win. In what is now one of the most famous plays in college football history, the Statue of Liberty was used to perfection as Boise State shocked the world and got the win. There was even a marriage proposal by the game-winning running back shortly after. It was a fucking fairy tale. Finishing a perfect 13-0, the Broncos were ranked number 5 in the final AP poll. In 2007, the team went 10-3, and in 2008, they went 12-1, beating number 17 Oregon in the regular season, but losing the bowl game 17-16 against number 11 TCU in the Poinsettia Bowl. Despite being 12-0 entering the game, they were only ranked number 9, so they were still far from national title consideration. In 2009, Petersen had his best season yet. Again, they defeated number 16 Oregon 19-8 to start the season before blowing through the regular season to set up a rematch with number 3 TCU, this time in the Fiesta Bowl. They entered the contest ranked number 6 and went on to win 17-10 to complete the season 14-0 and earn a final ranking of number 4 in both the AP and coaches poll. In 2010, they started 10-0 and reached all the way to a number 3 national ranking before losing a heartbreaking overtime game to number 19 Nevada, which ultimately killed any chance at a national title. They did finish out the year perfect to finish 12-1. 2011 hopes were derailed by a 1-point loss to TCU, 36-35, but the team again finished 12-1. After going a somewhat disappointing 8-4 record, given the success of the previous 7 seasons, Petersen would end his time in Boise. He went an amazing 92-12, good for 88.5 winning percentage. His teams won the WAC championship in 2006, 2008, 2009, 2010, and the Mountain West Conference in 2012. In fact, he won the conference championships in more seasons than he didn't. His conference record over that span was even more impressive at 57-6. During that time, he was named Bobby Dodd Coach of the Year in 2010 and Bear Bryant Coach of the Year in 2006 and 2009. Petersen went on to Washington following the 2013 season, where he had plenty of success as well, leading the Huskies to 2 Pac-12 championships and a college football playoff appearance in 2016. In 2019, Coach Petersen retired from coaching at the relatively young age of 55. I could easily see him making the College Football Hall of Fame somewhere down the line. Boston College. There have been a number of notable names to coach here. Frank Cavanaugh went 48-14-5 from 1919 to 1926. Joe McKinney went 44-18-3 from 1928 to 1934. Gil Doby had a short run, as did Tom Coughlin. Even legendary Notre Dame coach Frank Leahy spent 2 seasons there in 1939 and 1940, winning a self-claimed national title in the latter season, going 11-0. Take the self-claimed national title with a grain of salt, as they only finished ranked number 5 and no polls selected them as champions. Anyways, back on track. Tom O'Brien was my pick as the team's all-time win leader. Thomas P. O'Brien Jr. played defensive end for Navy from 1968 to 1970. After graduation, O'Brien served 9 years in the Marines. He went into coaching various positions at Navy and Virginia before being hired as head coach at Boston College in 1997. After a pair of 4-7 seasons, he finally got to winning in 1999 with an 8-4 record. He would equal that record again in 2001. In 2002, he got the team up to 9-4 despite a tough schedule where the Eagles had to play number 1 Miami on the road and number 4 Virginia Tech, losing both. However, a few weeks later, the team would beat the new number 4 ranked Notre Dame 14-7 on the road. They would finish that season with a Motor City Bowl win, stomping Toledo 51-25. O'Brien finally brought the team a championship in 2004, where they beat the likes of Penn State, number 24 Notre Dame, and number 13 West Virginia. They would then beat number 25 North Carolina 37-24 in the Continental Tire Bowl to finish ranked 21 in both the AP and Coaches Poll. Despite the championship honors, there was an unflattering thing that should be mentioned. At 4-2 in conference, the Big East Championship was shared with co-champions Pitt, West Virginia, and Syracuse. That's right, 4 teams won the damn conference that season. What makes it more sad is that the 4-way shared conference title still remains the only one in Boston College history to date. Take what you can, Eagles fans. There's a few that have it worse. After going 9-3 again in 2005 and 2006, with Matt Ryan at quarterback, by the way, Tom took the NC State job, finishing his BC career with a 75-45 record and the team's only conference title win, as I just mentioned, and led the team to 5 straight bowl wins in 6 straight appearances. He wouldn't quite have the same levels of success at NC State, with 3 winning seasons and 3 losing seasons. After leaving coaching in 2012, he went into broadcasting with ESPN and later at Navy in 2017. My research showed that he is seemingly no longer in that role and is effectively retired from all things in 2025. That's going to be all for this one. Again, I am or have already done these for every single FBS team, so please go check out the other ones. This has been Chris of College Football Chronicles, and I hope you join me for another video.